Ever felt like your digital life is scattered across a dozen different places? You save a document on your laptop, then maybe you open it on your desktop later, only to realize, wait, hang on, which version is the latest one? Or maybe you updated a really crucial config file on a server, but your local copy, the one you thought was the definitive one, is still stuck way back in the past. It's a common and, frankly, infuriating dance, isn't it? That nagging doubt about whether your files are truly consistent or if, a crucial change might be lurking somewhere on an old device. For many of us, navigating this whole digital landscape, trying to keep everything perfectly aligned, not just backed up one way, but truly like two ways, constantly and intelligently, it often feels like an impossible dream. But what if there was a tool that could actually bring some order to that chaos? A kind of quiet hero of consistency. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into just such a tool, Unison. Our mission here is to unpack its core innovation, understand how it works, which is surprisingly elegant, actually, and explore its practical applications that can really revolutionize how you manage your data, whether that's for your personal stuff or your most critical professional systems.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, and what really sets Unison apart from maybe simpler tools you might have bumped into, is its profound understanding of your data state across different systems. It's not just copying files back and forth, it's intelligently tracking changes on both ends of your synchronization relationship. It makes sure both sides, both replicas, reflect the most up-to-date information without you having to constantly, micromanage it all. It's a pretty significant tool for anyone who really demands precise control and reliability over their digital assets.
Okay, that distinction you made, intelligently tracking changes on both ends, that really grabs my interest. Because we're so used to, basic backups or maybe just one-way pushes of data. Can you maybe elaborate a bit on what true two-way synchronization actually means in practice? I know Unison has a pretty robust history, right? It goes all the way back to 1998, written in OCaml. So it's clearly a mature, battle-tested solution. But what is it doing under the hood that fundamentally differs from just making a copy? Or, say, using a simple rsync command, which a lot of people might know for one-way transfers, does it use similar efficiency tricks?
That's a great question. And you're right, Unison is incredibly efficient. It does leverage delta transfer algorithms, similar to what DoSync uses for sending only the change parts of files. But that's actually more of an efficiency layer, not its core innovation. The real magic, the true differentiator, lies in how Unison tracks changes independently on both replicas. It builds and maintains its own internal historical records. Think of it like a meticulous journal for each side of the sync. It stores these in what it calls archives.
Archives, okay.
Yeah, these internal records are absolutely crucial because they allow Unison to understand precisely what has happened on each side since the last time they were synchronized.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to guess or rely solely on simple timestamps, which can be unreliable. It's like having two really diligent librarians, one at each location, and each one is noting every single check-in and check-out. This independent tracking, that's what enables its most critical and, frankly, powerful feature: robust conflict detection.
Conflict detection, that sounds key.
It is. Let me give you a relatable example, okay?
Yeah.
Imagine you're deep into writing a project proposal on your laptop, you save it, then later maybe you quickly open that very same document on your desktop to make an urgent small correction. You totally forgot about the laptop version, right? Happens all the time. Now, with the simple one-way sync tool, or even if you were just manually copying files, well, one version would inevitably override the other. Poof.
Right. Leading to potential data loss and then a very frustrating recovery effort. I've been there.
Yes, exactly. Unison, however, detects that both files have been modified independently since their last known shared state. It won't just blindly overwrite. No way. Instead, it recognizes this conflict, flags it clearly, and actually notifies you, giving you the power to decide how to resolve it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
look, this isn't just a feature. It's more like a paradigm shift, really. It transforms your approach from passively hoping your data is consistent to actively engineering and validating its integrity across your systems. It moves you from that reactive, oh no, data loss recovery mode to a proactive, data consistency assurance stance. It allows you to maintain that consistency and prevent the kind of accidental data loss that simpler, less intelligent tools might easily cause. It's about knowing what changed and where, not just guessing based on when.
Okay, wow, that really clarifies the difference. That level of intelligence, understanding the state of files, and proactively identifying conflicts, that sounds incredibly powerful for preventing those all too common digital headaches. So, okay, for someone who's now convinced by the why, what's the practical first step? How do we actually put this intelligence to work on our own machines? What does the basic command line syntax look like? Is it complicated?
You're right, the practical side is key. And no, the basic command is actually quite straightforward. It's just Unison roku1 rot2. So for instance, if you wanted to synchronize your local documents directory, say home user docs, with a backup location on a remote server that you access via SSH, you'd use something like Unison home user docs, sh.serverman backup docs.
Okay, sh.server backup docs.
Right, that sesh dot part is the key for connecting securely to the remote machine. And note the / after server. That's a specific Unison convention. It tells Unison you're specifying an absolute path on the remote system, starting from the root directory there.
Gotcha. That basic command seems manageable, for a simple one-off sync. But I can easily imagine, if you're managing multiple syncs across different machines, or maybe you have specific ignore rules you want to apply every time, constantly retyping those long paths and opens would get incredibly tedious, fast. Does Unison offer a way to save and reuse these configurations? Is there a concept of a saved sync job, maybe?
Absolutely. And this is really where Unison elevates itself from just being a command line utility to a genuinely powerful management tool. It's done using profiles. Yeah. A Unison profile is essentially just a plain text file. You typically store it in your home directory inside a hidden folder called .unison. And this file basically encapsulates all the specific settings for a particular synchronization job. So instead of typing out long, complex commands with multiple options every single time, you just define your routes, your ignore rules, your operational modes, whatever you need all once within this profile file. Then you simply run Unison my profile using the name you gave the file, and boom. It executes the sync exactly as you configured it. It's a real game changer for efficiency and repeatability.
A game changer indeed. Okay, so can you walk us through some of the essential directives someone might want to put in a profile? What are the sort of building blocks of these powerful configurations?
Certainly. So the first and most fundamental directives are always going to be the root lines. You'll always have two of them defining the two endpoints of your sync. So you might have root local path to data for your local directory, and then root sh.user at remote path for your remote counterpart. These lines clearly tell Unison what two directories it needs to keep in sync. Then, another really crucial set of directives involves the ignore rules.
Ah, yes. What not to sync.
Exactly. You use these to tell Unison what to leave alone, which is vital for keeping your syncs clean and relevant. For example, you could have ignore name.tmp. That would prevent any files ending with .tmp from being included. Pretty common need. Or maybe ignore path temp. This tells Unison to ignore an entire directory named temp relative to one of your roots. Ignoring things like temporary files, cache directories, maybe version control system folders like .getThis is incredibly important for preventing unnecessary transfers and also avoiding potential conflicts with data that's just transient anyway.
Makes perfect sense. What about controlling how Unison behaves?
Right, so then you have operational directives. Auto-true is a very useful one. It tells Unison to automatically accept safe, non-conflicting changes without prompting you for confirmation every single time. Yeah, this is fantastic for everyday syncs where you mostly expect, one-sided additions or modifications, less clicking. But perhaps the most essential directive, especially for advanced automated use, is batch.
Batch gets true.
This one disables all interactive prompts. It makes Unison run entirely non-interactively, quiet mode, essentially. And this directive is basically your best friend. When you need to schedule syncs, maybe using scripts or cron jobs, it transforms Unison into an ideal candidate for automation. Which, of course, brings us to a crucial next step for many users. How can we make these powerful syncs happen without needing constant manual oversight?
Yes. That's the question that really unlocks the full potential, isn't it? Because for so many of us, both personally and professionally, having that consistency automated, that's the dream. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Let's dive into some tangible benefits and real-world applications where Unison truly shines. For many people, myself included probably, the most relatable application is simply keeping your laptop and desktop home directories in perfect harmony. I mean, who hasn't wished their documents, their code, maybe photos, or even application configurations were just identical no matter which machine they happen to be sitting at? Unison does that beautifully. It ensures you always have a consistent work environment. I remember once losing a day's worth of work because I forgot to transfer a file properly and overwrote it with an older version. Unison would have caught that conflict in an instant, but Unison's power really extends far beyond just personal productivity, right? Think about professional environments, especially for, say, system administrators. One fantastic application is server configuration mirroring. Imagine you're managing a web farm, multiple HTTP servers doing the same job. You can use Unison to replicate critical configuration directories like HTTPD or similar across all your servers.
Right.
This ensures every single server is running with the identical configuration. It simplifies management enormously, prevents that dreaded configuration drift, and drastically reduces the chance of inconsistencies that could lead to outages. Honestly, the peace of mind alone is probably worth it there. And then there's this idea of bidirectional content distribution. This really showcases the two-way power we were talking about earlier. This is for maybe more complex scenarios. Perhaps syncing content between a staging server where you develop and test new features and multiple production nodes that serve live traffic. Unison lets updates be reliably pushed from staging out to production. But here's where that intelligence really kicks in. If a critical hotfix has to be made directly on a production server in an emergency,
Which happens.
which absolutely happens, Unison can sync that change back to the staging server so everything stays perfectly aligned. It prevents your staging environment from accidentally drifting out of sync with what's actually live in production. That's huge. And, to tie it back to automation, that batch true directive we discussed, or you can use the dash batch flag on the command line, combine that with scheduling tools like Cron on Linux, and suddenly you can set up this robust automated solution for continuous data consistency across all these different environments, almost without thinking about it after setup.
Exactly. And when we connect these specific examples back to the broader impact for you, the listener, Unison really offers a level of control and consistency that is just invaluable. It's invaluable for preventing errors, for reducing tedious manual work, and just ensuring data integrity across even really complex systems. For anyone out there trying to gain knowledge quickly but thoroughly, the ability to ensure all your relevant files, your notes, your configurations are always up to date and consistent across your various workspaces. It dramatically reduces friction and, frankly, information overload.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to waste mental energy wondering, wait, am I looking at the right version here? You just, it fosters trust in your own data. This really underscores Unison's adaptability and, I think, its profound value. It serves such a wide range of learner scenarios, from ensuring a researcher's critical code and notes are always aligned across their lab machine and laptop. Djere providing a developer with a perfectly consistent environment no matter where they work, to offering a system administrator that absolute certainty about critical server configurations. It's a tool that really brings peace of mind through precise, intelligent control over your information.
Okay, so to sort of recap our deep dive today, Unison is clearly much more than just a simple file copier. It's an intelligent, genuinely two-way synchronization engine, and it's designed for robust, reliable consistency across different systems. Its core strengths really lie in its independent change tracking and remembering history on both ends, its brilliant ability to detect and flag conflicts rather than just blindly overwriting data, its efficient transfers using those clever Delta algorithms, and of course, its powerful automation capabilities through profiles and batch mode. So whether you're looking to keep your personal files perfectly aligned across all your devices, or you need to manage critical server configurations with confidence, or maybe ensure seamless bidirectional content distribution, Unison offers a mature, battle-tested, and incredibly reliable solution to what is a very common and often very frustrating digital headache.
Right. And maybe this leads us to a final thought for you to mull over. Beyond the specific examples we explored today, what other common data inconsistencies are lurking in your digital life, or perhaps even in the broader systems you interact with, maybe professionally? Where else could such an intelligent two-way synchronization approach be truly beneficial? And maybe just as importantly, what new challenges might actually arise if that powerful consistency isn't managed carefully? Or perhaps if you continue to rely on less sophisticated, maybe one-way tools where two-way intelligence is really needed. We'd certainly encourage you to explore tools like Unison if you're seeking deeper control and really unwavering reliability over your digital environment. It's powerful stuff.